Okay, now we've finished up basically with step 7. Now, look at what we've done. All right? We have goals for the future. All right? We have some idea of how to get those goals. We have identified some blocks to achieving those goals. We've linked those problems or blocks to outcome. If you solve it, you are likely to do better. If you don't solve it, you're going to keep repeating the same old problems. We have a plan to solve the problem. It's your child's plan, not yours. It's honed in. It's concrete, a specific plan that he can do. We've analyzed the follow-through, the need for follow-through, the decisions behind it, the decisions to succeed or fail. We've discussed the conflicts and feelings, the sacrifices. What are you going to get if you, what are you going to give up if you follow the plan? What are you going to surrender? What are you going to surrender? But what are you going to gain? What's going to happen if you follow the plan? And we've done a whole lot of work. Say around one excuse. I forgot, boredom, not understanding, leaving stuff in the locker. Whatever the problem is, if you now, at this point, believe that your child is ready to follow through now, you're mistaken. Because we got step 8. Don't leave it out. Step 8 is very simple. It's a commitment to follow through. Underachievers lack the emotional commitment to push themselves through and follow a plan. So what we're going to do initially is set up that commitment. It goes something like this. Now, Johnny, you have a plan, and you go through all that. You have a plan. You've analyzed what you're going to do, how you're going to make decisions. What are you going to do, really? Now, Johnny's not used to that question. Now, to you and I, that's a very simple question. But Johnny's had this stream of thoughts in the back of his mind saying, well, I'm not going to do this stuff anyway. Or I can't possibly do this. Or this is too much for me. Especially the procrastinator underachiever starting to complain to himself that this is too much to expect. The con artist is thinking, oh man, our parents are fool. I'm not going to do this. The martyr's already getting scared because it seems too independent to him. The hidden perfectionist is feeling controlled now. Even though it's his own plan, he feels like somehow he's been moved into creating something he is scared of. The socialite has too much detail. He's already getting bored. So they're already having their unique emotional reactions. So when you ask them, what are you going to do really, they have a decision to make at some level. Am I going to commit and say, yes, I'll do it? Or am I going to tell them what I'm really thinking? Now let me tell you that probably only 1% of the kids I've ever worked with or ever heard of actually say, I don't really want to do this, I'm not going to do it. Okay? Most of the kids, the vast majority, say, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow through. I'm actually going to sit down at 7 and do my work. Now, you have done all this work. The kids made a commitment to follow through, and if you believe he actually will follow through, then you are likely to be sadly frustrated and mistaken. What is the underachievers' one of their primary problems? I can hear you say it now, lack of follow through. It does absolutely no good for you to get your hopes up. When you get your hopes up, the martyr is going to dash them. So if you have any kind of martyr pattern at all in your child, remain steady. Even for all the other underachievers, if you assume you have a martyr, you're better off. Just remain steady and you follow through. It does no good to do all this and then you never find out did they actually do it. So as a parent, you're there. Now let's take the example of the 7 o'clock deal. Okay, you've got a procrastinating underachiever. And he says he's going to get started at 7. And at 7:15, he hasn't started his homework. You're not surprised. You expect it. In fact, you're surprised if he actually does at 7, okay? Now, The next thing you do is step 9, follow up. You turn off the TV, you say, come here, Johnny, we need to have a talk real quick. What happened? What happened that you didn't follow through? How come you're not studying at 7 like you said? And Johnny can make up all kinds of excuses. Well, I just needed to finish this program. Well, the phone rang. Well, this happened. Well, that happened. All these things interfered. And you now have the ability to start step 10, which is recycle. That's good. You caught him in a mistake. You caught him in a problem. He repeated the same problem. That's good. You've done your job. Pat yourself on the back. Thank the Lord that you heard the tape, and start step 3 again. Let's analyze this. How did you make the decision? Now that may take some time. It may take 10 or 12 or 15 minutes. But it doesn't matter. You've caught him in a mistake. You've done your job. Pat yourself on the back. It doesn't matter if it takes another 15 minutes to go through a quick sequence analysis where he has to own up that he chose to fail his plan. Now you know something more. If he says, well, I just wanted to finish this program, but what about your commitment to follow through? You're getting to the heart of the problem. Johnny is now nervous. He's more anxious. He may even be angry with you. He may stomp off mad. Let him come back to it a few minutes later. Then, when you have analyzed the failure, what are you going to do now? When will you get started studying next? Well, I'll do it in a few minutes. Well, when is a few minutes? Specify, specify, specify. Concrete, specific things. Oh, do they ever squirm? But at least the right person is squirming, not you, them. And you can be so calm and so nice and so sweet because you are winning without yelling, screaming, grounding, or anything else. And he says, oh, okay, I'll get started at 7:30. Now, if you're dealing with a procrastinator, you know what the problem is? He's trying to make you in charge. And he's going to resent you for being in charge. He's just waiting for you to start yelling so he can feel justified in his resistance to doing what he secretly knows you would like to, which is to do work. So you never give him that. And it doesn't matter what kind of underachiever, you always bring up, if you don't sit down and get started at 7:30 this time, are you telling me that you can't be your own boss? I'm going to watch your behavior. And your behavior will tell me as much as your words tell me. Your behavior will tell me that you cannot be your boss, that you may need my help to get started working tonight. Your words will tell me you can do it, but your behavior is going to tell me I'm going to pay attention to both. So let's see if you can make your words and your behavior match. And then you leave him alone. You walk away. And at 7:45, if he's not started studying, you follow through again. And you do the same thing. What happened? I'll guarantee you the vast majority of kids will then say, well, I'll go start studying right now. If you become if you have a steady approach that puts the monkey on their back to make the decisions, they will start changing. And they will know, their children will know, it is their responsibility to do it. And you will have signaled something amazing to your child. You really expect them to govern themselves. You really do expect them to own responsibility. But, and here's the secret, if your child cannot, after 3 or 4 times, make himself do what he said he was going to do, you give him plenty of time to fail in these little moments, then you have to say, I understand. As much as you want to follow through, as much as you would like to, you're just not able to be your own boss right now, so I will. But you will do it my way. I cannot be your boss your way. I'll be your boss my way. And if it were me, I'm going to sit down and study 4 hours tonight, and I'll study 3 hours in the morning, getting up at 3 o'clock, to make sure everything's done perfectly. Now, that would be my way. So I'm going to give you one more chance for you to do it your way, because I don't want to be your boss. Now, when are you going to get started studying tonight? And now it's 8:45. Now. It almost never gets to the point, if you follow that out, constantly recycling the steps, constantly bringing them back to the decisions, it almost never happens that you have to take over. Now, it does happen from time to time. It depends on the time of school year you get started. One father had a son who was a single parent. So the single parents have it harder. And one reason I developed these ideas is to help single parents have a consistent plan. This father, his son had all this makeup work to do because he started these steps and this sort of program late in the year. And his son was procrastinating on getting started. So the father would do all these steps, say, when are you going to get started on your makeup? When are you going to get started on your makeup? And would cycle through for several days. Finally, the father said, as I recommend here to you, look, I'm just going to watch your behavior. You keep telling me back off, you can do it, you don't keep doing it, you don't follow your plans, you don't make the right decisions, you're continually making decisions to fail. You're telling me you can't be your boss. I'm simply going to watch. And if by Friday you haven't started your makeup work, started doing it so that it can be finished, I'm going to take over because you're telling me that you need a boss. He had a procrastinator underachiever who loved to set up that kind of power struggle. Now, this kid by this time had so many of his excuses unhooked that he's nervous. He's more anxious than he was. And the father said, this is how I would work if I were in your shoes. So if I have to be your boss, you'll work my way. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would do all the work. I would do nothing else till the work's done. I will eat, I will drink, I will sleep, I'll use the bathroom, and that's what I would do. So that's what you're going to do. Now, if you want to do it your way, that's fine. Your way will be good enough for me, but you have to do it. If not, I will take over. So please don't make me take over. Now, what the father did, which was so good, is made taking over the child's responsibility. It was the child's message. And this kid was so upset and so nervous about this that he actually sat down and worked the way his father would have made him work, whereas the father never said another word. The kid sat down and did it on his own. And that was the beginning of real change. So this is the power of these steps, is that they provide you an opportunity when the problem emerges, not to swoop in, not to take over, but to set things up so that even the child admits, well, I'll have to do it.